Hey guys, thank you for joining me in the WhatsApp group. Today we have a really exciting recipe. We are going to be making chocolate fudge cake, but with a slight twist, it's going to be in cupcake versions. This is completely vegan and it's actually really easy to make vegan. I think a lot of people often think that it's actually harder to make things like this in a vegan version, but actually it's just as easy. You just need to use the right ingredients. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we are going to use some dairy-free butter and we're going to use some caster sugar. So you can use golden caster sugar or normal caster sugar, it is totally up to you. Just going to throw that in there. I've left this at room temperature for a bit, just so it's a bit softer. You might want to give it a whiz in the microwave, but it's totally up to you, it's just a bit easier. This caster sugar, this is 200 grams, and then I got 150 grams of the dairy-free butter, and I'm just basically going to beat it until light and fluffy. So actually, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to quickly preheat the oven. I'm going to preheat it to 180 degrees Celsius or gas mark 4 or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm just going to turn that on quickly so that when it's ready, we can just throw it right in the oven. There we go, that is looking nice and fluffy and it smells good. Okay, so next we are going to add 300 milliliters of dairy-free milk. Now I use soya milk, which I find is probably one of the best for baking. I'm not going to add that all in at once just because I want to make sure it mixes well. I'm always keen to know what people's favourite dairy-free milk is, because mine varies based on what I'm using it for. You've got to know which ones you prefer in certain things, because I think that's one of the things when people are transitioning, and it's quite hard to know what works best in what. Okay, so now I'm just going to add in some self-raising flour. It's 300 grams worth, and I'm going to sieve it in. I'm just going to add that bit by bit, make sure it's nice and fine. Basically, just going to do this because this is what I see the professionals doing. We're just going to mix this in before adding the cacao powder. Did you guys used to secretly eat the dough as a child? We definitely were not allowed to, but I used to actually grab pieces of dough and run to the garden and eat them all. Dirty little secrets. And now I'm actually going to add in the cacao powder, which is also going to give it that chocolatey chocolateness. And we are just going to use 5 tablespoons of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are just going to sieve this in as we did before. Right, there we go, and then we're just going to mix this all in to make it nice and chocolatey. And next I'm just going to add 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, beat it until it's all combined. And then I'm going to put it into my little cupcake cases. My little cupcake tins. You can obviously make them any size you want. If you want to make mini cupcakes, if you want to make bigger ones, if you want to make it into a whole cake, it is totally up to you. It is delicious either way. All dollops in, everywhere. Just trying to make sure they're all pretty even. No one fights over them, you know. But also it's got self-raising flour in, so you don't need to fill it up too high. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. I just want to put like a toothpick in there or something, or a fork, and just if it comes out clean, then it is ready cooked. I also just want to say that if you're going to make it as a cake, then you probably do want to put it in for more like 20 to 25 minutes. Just make sure you keep an eye on it. Okay, so while that is cooking, I am going to make the frosting, which in my opinion is the best bit. So I'm just going to grab a pan with some boiling water in it so that I can get the chocolate melting. So I've just got a saucepan here with a bit of boiling water in, and I'm just going to turn this onto a low heat. So I'm just going to take a bowl and put it on top so that we can melt the chocolate in it. So I have 100 grams of dark chocolate here, and I'm going to put 1 aside to grate on top after. I'm just going to put this in here, and that I find is just the easiest way to melt the chocolate without it ending up burning or anything, because I find the microwave often does that. So now I am just going to make the rest of the frosting while that is cooking. So I'm just going to add in 350 grams of icing sugar, and then to that I'm going to add in 100 grams of dairy-free butter. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is not mixed completely yet, but that is absolutely fine because I'm going to be adding in the rest of the ingredients. So I'm just going to quickly add 90 milliliters of soya milk, which is actually a really small amount. There we go. And this is just nicely bubbling away. That's on a really low heat. Okay, so I've given this quite a bit of a mix, and I'm just going to add the rest of the ingredients in. 60 grams of cocoa powder. Oh, wow. That's all going in at once. And I'm just gonna mix that thoroughly now. This might take about 3 to 4 minutes, but it's all worth it in the end. This is completely melted now, so I'm gonna take this off so so that we can leave it to cool before we add it into the frosting. Woo, okay. Obviously we don't want to leave it to cool too much because we don't want to turn into a chocolate bar. I'll just finish mixing this. That one's now off the heat. I'm just gonna move it to the side. That is nice and thoroughly mixed now. I'm actually going to just use a spatula and just get out as much as I can of this. And then we're going to give this a good old mix so we get all that melted chocolate in. So I'm just grabbing this bowl. I'm literally just going to decant all of this into there because it is going to be set aside for 30 minutes just to cool. And while that happens, I'm just gonna check on the cakes. Okay, so I have literally just taken these out the oven and left them to sit for a while. You just wanna make sure that you don't take them fresh out and then try and get them out of the cases because that will not go well. Just be careful because they can be quite fragile once they've just come out. And then basically, I'm gonna take my fudgy frosting and I'm just gonna ice them all, essentially. Some people decorate cakes so nicely. I cannot say I'm one of those people. Just basically spreading it so that it is all over the top. Now these are nice and iced. I'm just gonna put some fruits on some of the top of them. You can use strawberries, blueberries. I've got some raspberries over here. I'm literally just gonna put one over the top to take away from my less than desirable icing skills. Okay, so now I have just topped them all with a little fruit, you know, to make it healthy. And then I am going to grab just a grater, and as I said earlier, I'd literally just saved this. So I'm just gonna put some of this all over the top of my cute little cupcakes. Wow. The chocolate and I are now one. All right, so this is the finished product. I'm actually very proud of them and I'm excited to go and eat them. This overall makes 12 cupcakes, but if you're gonna make it as a cake, I'd say it probably serves 10 to 12 people, depending on if one of them's me, in which case it serves one. Prep time, I think, is around an hour to an hour and a half, and it is worth every second. So I'm gonna go have some quality time with my new best friends. Bye.